Assalamu alaikum viewers. I'm Faika Khalid and I'm doing ADP IT from University of Central Punjab, Gujranwala. Currently, I'm just a student. It's my small introduction. So the purpose of making this video is I got a task from my professor to tell about Ruby and Rails. So let's start. First of all, Ruby on Rails. Ruby on Rails is a web application. I'll tell you what is Ruby on Rails. First of all, Ruby. Ruby is a descriptive language. It's dynamic and open source programming language. Ruby is a very simple and productive language. Productivity means आप बड़े बड़े गोल्स जो हैं अपने एक सिंपल एक लाइन के अंदर बड़े गोल्स को अचीव कर सकते हैं और ये बहुत इजी है इसे लिखना भी और इसे पढ़ना भी। इसके बाद है रेल्स। जो ऑन रेल्स है वो रूबी का एक फ्रेमवर्क है। एक फ्रेमवर्क बेसिकली एक पैकेज होता है जो वेब एप्लीकेशंस के लिए काम करता है और ये बहुत इजी होता है। रूबी एंड रेल्स इसके थ्रू आप डिफरेंट वेब एप्लीकेशंस बना सकते हैं और रूबी ऑन रेल्स लिनक्स विंडोज़ हर किस्म के ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम पर काम कर सकता है। रूबी एंड रेल्स जो है एक स्ट्रक्चर फॉलो करता है वेब को बनाने के लिए जो MVC कहलाता है। MVC क्या होता है? ये एक मॉडल व्यू कंट्रोलर होता है और ये बेसिकली एक आर्किटेक्चर है जो एप्लीकेशन के 3 मेन कंपोनेंट्स को सेपरेट करता है। मॉडल व्यू कंट्रोलर ये एक एप्लीकेशन को क्रिएट करने के लिए यूज़ होता है। बेसिक डिफरेंस रूबी ऑन रेल्स में और बाकी फ्रेमवर्क्स में है वो ये है कि जो बाकी फ्रेमवर्क्स हैं वो थोड़े डिफ़िकल्ट हैं और जो रूबी एंड रेल्स है वो इसकी स्पीड बहुत ज़्यादा है और इसको डेवलप करना बहुत ज़्यादा इजी है। रूबी ऑन रेल्स वेब एप्लीकेशन को बनाते हुए जो चेंजेस करनी पड़ती हैं वो हम इमीडिएटली जो है अपने एप्लीकेशन में चेंज कर सकते हैं। मिस्टर डेविड अ जावा एक्सपर्ट ही सेड दैट जो रूबी ऑन रेल्स फ्रेमवर्क है वो 5 to 10 टाइम फास्टर है जावा फ्रेमवर्क से और अकॉर्डिंग टू फ्यूचर प्रेडिक्शंस रूबी ऑन रेल्स जो है फ्यूचर में बहुत ज़्यादा अडॉप्ट किया जाएगा। जो आगे रेल्स है उसके सेवरल कंपोनेंट्स हैं जो बायॉन्ड है रूबी से। ये एक्टिव रिकॉर्डर है, इसके में एक्शन वेब सर्विसेज हैं, एक्शन मेलर्स है, मतलब ईमेल्स को ये फौरी तौर पे हैंडल कर लेता है। इसमें एक्टिव रिकॉर्डर है और ऑब्जेक्ट रिलेशनल मैपिंग है, इसमें लेयर्स हैं, इसमें एक्शन पैक्स हैं। ये जो है जो कंट्रोलर है इसका वो फंक्शन को बहुत अच्छे से मैनेज करता है और दिखाता है। रूबी प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज ये एक स्पेसिफिक प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज नहीं है, ये डिफरेंट प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेजेस से मिलकर बनी है। और रूबी ऑन रेल्स जो प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज है वो एक नेचुरल लैंग्वेज है, वो एक सिंपल लैंग्वेज नहीं है। रूबी ऑन रेल्स सिंपली रेल्स ये रेल्स जो है वो एक सर्वर साइड वेब एप्लीकेशन फ्रेमवर्क है। जो रूबी ऑन रेल्स का जो फ्रेमवर्क है मॉडल व्यू कंट्रोलर फ्रेमवर्क वो प्रोवाइड करता है एक डिफ़ॉल्ट स्ट्रक्चर। वो प्रोवाइड करता है डिफ़ॉल्ट स्ट्रक्चर डेटाबेस को, वेब सर्विसेज को और वेब पेजेस को। और ये इनकरेज करता है, फैसिलिटेट करता है कि वेब स्टैंडर्ड्स को XAML, डाटा ट्रांसफ़र, HTML, जावास्क्रिप्ट को कैसे यूज़ किया जाए, कैसे डिस्प्ले किया जाए और कैसे यूज़र इंटरफेसिंग की जाए। जो मॉडल व्यू कंट्रोलर है ना रेल्स का वो एम्फाइज करता है एक सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग पैटर्न्स को जिसमें कन्वेंशन ओवर कॉन्फ़िगरेशन, डोंट रिपीट योरसेल्फ और एक्टिव रिकॉर्डर होता है जो रेल्स के जो है कंपोनेंट्स भी हैं। तो कन्वेंशन ओवर कॉन्फ़िगरेशन है, इसका मतलब है कि डेवलपर को सिर्फ स्पेसिफाई करना होता है अनकन्वेंशनल एस्पेक्ट्स को एप्लीकेशन बनाने के लिए। और जो डोंट रिपीट योरसेल्फ है इसका मतलब है कि इंफॉर्मेशन जो है वो लोकेटेड है इन अ सिंगल फॉर्म। और एक नई टर्म यूज़ होती है फैट मॉडल एंड स्किनी कंट्रोलर्स। इसका मतलब है कि जो बहुत से एप्लीकेशन लॉजिक्स होते हैं ना वो एक ही जगह पे प्लेस होते हैं और जब
My name is Alishba Tahir and I am going to tell you about the use of Ruby programming languages. It is used in a wide range of fields but is best known as language for web application because of the Ruby on Rails framework. The general purpose nature of Ruby takes it suitable for a wide array of programming tasks, just like Perl, Python, and other general purpose languages. Now I tell you why we prefer to use Ruby on Rails. The process of programming is much faster than other frameworks and languages, partly because of the object-oriented nature of Ruby and the vast collection of open source code available within the Rails community. The Rails conventions also make it easy for developers to move between different Rails projects, as each project will tend to follow the same structure and coding practices. Ruby code is very readable and mostly self-documented. This increases the productivity as there is less need to wear out separate documentation, making it easier for other developers to pick up existing projects. Rails has developed a strong focus on testing and has good testing frameworks. Rails and most of its libraries are open source, so unlike other commercial development frameworks, there are no licensing costs involved. Now I tell you what are the problems and limitations and how we can overcome it in Ruby on Rails. Not all website hosts can support Rails. While it is true that not all web hosts support Rails, this is primarily because it can be more resource intensive than PHP, a fact which deters low-end shared hosting providers. However, this is by no means a deal breaker, and of course Rails friendly hosts do exist. Java and PHP are more widely used and there are more developers in this language. The number of Ruby developers is growing year on year as more people switch it from other programming languages. One of the main differences between the Ruby and other communities is the amount of open source code which is publicly available, the performance and scalability. There have been concerns that Rails applications are not as far as Java or C, which is true, but for the majority of applications it is fast enough. There are plenty of high profile organizations which rely on Rails to power the sites, including Airbnb, Yellow Pages, and etc. There is also the option of running your application under JRuby, so you have the same performance characteristics as Java. Now we can after this we conclude that our decision to use Rails is above all of the person's preference. We find that it works well for us by enabling the rapid development of dynamic web application.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Maida Abid and I am going to tell you about some advantages and disadvantages of Ruby on Rails. Ruby on Rails is compact, elegant and amusing way to build web apps fast. The primary advantage of Rails is the easy syntax, which is very close to natural language. Due to its set nature, it is highly preferred by the beginners, and on the long run, the programming component for an application is lighter to maintain. Since it is a part of an open source collaboration, Rails is available for everyone for free of cost, and expert users can with ease alter or improve the code as per their need. Hundreds of thousands and gems and plugins are available for free, which follow for extra functionality and extensive customization to users' final web page or application alike. Some other qualities of Ruby or Rails is adaptability, which make it possible for developers to explore and research multiple programming prototypes, a feature which is unavailable in Java or PHP. This versatility and flexibility play a critical purpose in decreasing the overall configuration and coding demands required for creating a new page or application. It directly leads to significant time savings for the developers working directly on the project, the company, and the customer. Furthermore, codes produced with Rails are easily recycled, reused, and also altered for use in the project. Now I'm gonna tell you some disadvantages of Ruby on Rails. Ruby on Rails, the web framework, isn't as comfortable to learn as it appears to be. If you wish to do small-scale projects, you can implement Rails right out of the box and do well. For relatively large scale projects, you will have to go beyond basics and understand more of the underpinnings, and then it becomes a little difficult. Then you will look to applying gems and plugins, and you will have to learn and understand and use more. It is normal for any language for that matter to be a little difficult to get the initial kick unless you have prior experience in the field. What I am trying to say is that Rail is not a simple granted solution for any difficult problem. You will do good if you keep learning more and more daily, keeping a strict routine. You'll find people complaining that it is arduous to find Railers to hire. It is false. In fact, it is very hard to find great programmers in any language today. Sure, PHP, Java, and NET have vast multitudes of developers, but I will say, out of my experience, the finding or hiring, I am lucky. One great programmer out of 200 resume is a big catch. You'll find people complaining that it is arduous to find Railers to hire. It is false. In fact, it is very hard to find great programmers in every language today. Sure, PHP, Java, and NET has vast multitudes of developers, but I will say out of my experience that finding or hiring, if I am lucky, one great programmers out of 200 resumes in a big catch. Moreover, I'm not exaggerating, it just doesn't matter if you have hundreds of developers out there that just can't work feasible code. In that case, Rails is not failing. When it's come to performance, let's be truly honest and accept that Ruby on Rails is comparably not as fast as app written in the Java or C language or platforms. Nevertheless, the truth is that most of the Ruby on Rails apps are considerably fast enough. We may name just as little over 100 solutions all over the world that need all. For instance, Java's resources. Lots of high-profile companies have committed their business to Rails and didn't regret their decision. For example, Airbnb, Channel 5, Yellow Pages, and Groupon are just few of them. I'm gonna jump on conclusion as I told you all the advantages and disadvantages of Ruby on Rails. There are these types of occurrences for fairly every programming language out there, and you will discover causes from them all. If at all you are working on releasing an original application for the web, then I would suggest you to build in Ruby, Node.js, Python, or Golang.
Hello everybody, let me introduce myself firstly. My name is Sarish and currently I am a bachelor student of IT department. Basically, I was assigned a task to explain you people about Ruby on Rails by my professor. So I will discuss about the history of Ruby on Rails, its facts and syntax. Let us first start with the history of Ruby on Rails. Ruby on Rails was created by a Japanese man named Yukihiro in 1993. It was released publicly in 1995. It was created for productivity as well as to have fun with. It was created with the programmer in mind. Many developers say Ruby is the most concise and expressive language available in all the languages. Matt took the best part of all of his favorite languages and used them in Ruby. Now I will discuss about some of the facts of Ruby on Rails. Ruby does not need to be compiled like other languages such as C and Java. It would use more resources. So Ruby doesn't need to be compiled, it's just read. Relatively easy to learn compared to other programming languages. And the next point is it is pure object-oriented programming. In Ruby on Rails, everything is object and all numbers, booleans are included in it. Then the next point is similar syntax to Perl and Python. Like if you know Perl and Python, it should be easy to learn Ruby on Rails language. Then the last point is used for both desktop applications and web applications. Ruby itself can be used for desktop applications through the games and other stuff. You can do other things with it. It's really fun to use such language. Ruby on Rails is a multi-paradigm language. Ruby is an important object-oriented language, but can also use multiple paradigms for different problems. Ruby is object-oriented at its core, but can also use functional and imperative paradigms. Ruby claims there is no one-size-fits-all. Different problems or aspects of code sometimes need more than one programming paradigm. Everything is an object in Ruby on Rails. When working in Ruby on Rails, it is important to understand that it treats everything as an object, and it includes numbers, strings, boolean statements, methods, functions. Methods and functions are used interchangeably. These methods have some examples. The first example is 5 times. 5 is the object and time is the message. Whatever you want 5 times can be achieved. The second example is hello reverse. Hello is the string and reverse is the message. It reverses the spelling of the message. The last example is hello length, and hello is obviously the string and length is the message. It gives the length of the message. Now I will discuss about the syntax of Ruby. The syntax of Ruby on Rails is similar to Perl and Python. The keywords, signal class, and method definitions. What's different? Like differences in Ruby and most other languages are much more. One of them is you can't use curly braces, instead use keyword define, and then at the end the closing text end is used. Basically no braces used for methods. It was the first difference. The next difference is not any semicolon is needed. Like in other languages, semicolon is used, but in Ruby on Rails, not any semicolon is used. It's not compulsory, but I would prefer semicolon in other languages. The next difference is uppercase variables are constant. Ruby on Rails takes uppercase variables and treat them as constant to keep the variables in lowercase cause it doesn't change. Then the next point is you get back what you put in terms of data types. Ruby keeps all instant variables private to the class. And the last difference is dollar and at are not thought of as data types but scope resolution. This was all about the history, facts, and syntax of Ruby on Rails. Thank you very much. I hope you people like it.